In this episode of WA TV, it's me, Louise Brogan from Social B Northern Ireland. Laura has asked me to be her guest cocktail correspondent this week. We're doing a fully virtual recorded session from here in Belfast in Northern Ireland.
And I'm here in Newcastle.
Stick around to see me sharing my advice on LinkedIn personal branding tips.
Why don't we begin with a quick intro, Louise?
If you've always wondered how to reinforce your personal brand through LinkedIn, then by the end of this episode, you will know how I do this for my many clients around the world from Social BNI HQ. I've been in business for 7 years now. In the last 18 months, I have niched down to help entrepreneurs and business owners who really want to understand how to use LinkedIn to win business. I have my own podcast called the LinkedIn with Louise podcast, which you can subscribe to. And if you like it, leave me a review through the link that Laura is going to give you below in the show notes.
I absolutely will take care of that for you, my dear. And don't forget to tell everybody how we met.
How could I, Laura? We met up online in Andrew and Pete's Atomic membership. And we do these monthly calls with the boys and you just pop out of the screen, Laura. I mean, how could anybody not befriend you with your lovely friendly face? And we connected in Messenger and we've taken it from there. This is awesome.
Yes, that's right. And before we kick off, Louise, why don't you tell everyone what cocktail you've prepared to accompany your correspondence this week?
So today I have mixed, well, I'm a complete cheat because I have a busy life. I have 3 kids, a dog, and a business, so actually I buy it pre-mixed. My favourite, pink gin in a tin. I mean, it rhymes. Who wouldn't love that? I've made it by purchasing it and pouring into a glass and adding a lovely straw. I do actually have fancy gin glasses, but you know, where are they? They're in the back of the cupboard. Any glass will do.
Simple, classic, and absolutely perfection. I've made one too. Cheers, babe.
Yes, Sláinte, Laura. Let's drink up.
Okay, let's dive straight in. So I want to talk to you about LinkedIn personal branding tips. Now, I know you have a few top tips that you're going to share with us later on in the show this week, but I want to get started on if you're a business owner who has a personal brand. How should your bio look when we land on that page?
So personal branding on LinkedIn is really important, and the tips that I would give, Laura, are actually when you are using LinkedIn as a personal brand and you're using it to raise your visibility and you're using it to really attract your ideal customer or client to you, the big tip is don't make the bio or the about section about you. Make it about the person that's reading it so that when they read it, they feel a connection to you and they want to reach out and connect with you. I know you did do last week on the show, you did an episode all about personal branding. So do go and check that out, guys. But I think where a lot of people possibly fall down a little bit on their LinkedIn is that they have used it as their online resume or CV. And what we really want to do is to really highlight why people should work with you as opposed to your career history and your life and career history on there instead.
And this leads me on really well to my next question. So we're all quite aware that personal branding as an approach is becoming quite trendy in large organizations. They're trying to impart responsibility across the workforce and encouraging each employee to take a personal brand approach in the way that they develop their career. How then does a LinkedIn bio change when you're trying to take this approach as an employee in a large organization?
So it is completely different. If you are approaching LinkedIn as somebody who wants to raise their personal brand within the organization, maybe you want to find a mentor, maybe you want to raise your visibility because you want to, increase your chances within your career, either in your industry or in the organization you're working in, then your profile is written completely differently. And how you can reflect your personal brand in your profile is by highlighting the things that you are actually passionate about, but relating them to what you do as in your career. So it is a very different approach to LinkedIn. This is not a one-size-fits-all platform, guys. But I do have, I actually have a free download that would help you with understanding what goes where in your LinkedIn profile. If you'd like to grab a copy of that, it's over at socialbni.com/download. Grab a copy of that and that'll help get you started.
Okay, so let's hear these top tips then, Louise.
So The best advice I can give you on how to use LinkedIn is to think of it as having 4 pillars, really. So if you only focus on one pillar, it's not going to work for you. You've got to think about all 4 together. So those are, number 1, having a really good, strong LinkedIn profile. And that means a fully filled out profile that if you are in a career, it's going to help people who are looking at you in terms of career progression. If you are a business owner or entrepreneur, your ideal client's going to read that and think, yes, this is somebody I want to reach out and connect with and know more about. So that is the first pillar, is having a really good, strong LinkedIn profile. The second pillar is understanding what kind of content that you should be sharing on LinkedIn. So I work with so many different kinds of people. I work with corporate organizations, I work with business development managers, and I also work with entrepreneurs. And this really differs for every single client that I work with, which is what I love about what I do, because you get to personalize it with every different kind of person that you work with. So the content should really be showcasing your knowledge and expertise, but in a way that helps the people you're connected to. So rather than broadcasting out how amazing you are or what you've been awarded for or what you've spoken at, use your content to really help the audience and the network who are connected to you and showcase how you're helping people as well. So an idea might be to run a poll or to do some, like, asking your audience questions that they engage with, but in a way that highlights and showcases your knowledge as well. So it's a little bit tricky to get used to, and that is some of the work that I do with my clients. The third pillar is building a genuine network around you. So I have got the most fascinating people in my network who've reached out to connect with me because of the things that I've done on LinkedIn. I have a whole stream of women from the UK film and TV industry, for example, because I did a webinar for them recently. But I also have the European, Mid East and Africa partner for Microsoft who contacted me because I've written for Social Media Examiner all about how to use LinkedIn and how to, the new things that you can use on LinkedIn company pages, and she reached out and connected with me, down to the ex-cybersecurity head for the UK. I mean, it's just build a network on LinkedIn that you want to connect with, that makes it a joy to go to LinkedIn, okay? And if you're going, what? It's not a joy to go to LinkedIn. If you build a network full of people that you are interested in, they're interested in you, you have great conversations, it actually makes it the platform that you like interacting on with people the most. Also, it's far easier to get interaction and engagement on LinkedIn because so few people are actually posting anything on there at all. So that's another little tip. If you actually get out of your own head and start posting content on LinkedIn, you're actually in the top 1% of the people who are using LinkedIn, which is astounding, really, and means you've got a really wide open space to get yourself out there, get noticed, share your knowledge and expertise. The fourth thing then is LinkedIn Messenger. And I am a huge advocate of sending a connection request with a personalized invitation, because you are opening up a conversation with the person you are connecting with, which for me has led directly to people booking sales calls, having conversations, recommending people to me, all because we are connecting within the one-to-one messaging space on LinkedIn and not out in the news feed. When you get used to using LinkedIn and using it to market and talk about what it is that you help people with, and doing that by serving others in your LinkedIn content, you will find that people start connecting with you and asking you, can they find out more about your products and services? What we don't want is for you to connect with somebody and immediately send them a sales message. That is not what it's about. It's about building relationships. And that is the key to success on LinkedIn for me. So those are the four things: having a good, strong profile, understanding what kind of content is going to work on LinkedIn, and creating a strategy around that content for you. Building a genuinely interesting and valuable network around you, which does not mean having 100,000 followers or 30,000 followers. It means building like a small but mighty network of people who are interested in you and want to work with you, or have friends, colleagues who may want to work with you and hire your services. And the fourth one is understanding how the LinkedIn messaging service works to your advantage and how you can turn those connections and followers into buyers and sales, which is what we all really want at the end of the day. So on the LinkedIn with Louise podcast, I actually dive deep into what these 4 pillars are. So if you would like to listen into that, there'll be a link below.
Now, you and I have had this discussion together offline, and I think it's worthwhile us bringing up. I really loved your response to it when I asked you this, so I wanted to ask you now in a public way on the show this week. So one of my personal brand themes is that I'm a proud feminist. I am really passionate about making sure that the way I do business helps our younger generations of females raise up with more confidence and more power. Now, when I get hit on LinkedIn by an absolute perv, I personally handle this with my personal brand in mind. I actually have a copy and paste reply that I sent to somebody when they're trying to talk to me as if we were on Tinder and not on LinkedIn. And then if I know that they are part of an organization, I will report them to the HR director of the organization that they work for. I think for me, that's on brand. Have you got any top tips then, Louise, today on how modern females, and I think it is mainly females that receive these types of messages, particularly on LinkedIn, what's your advice on how we should be handling this?
Laura, I feel that everybody approaches this in a different way, and you and I approach this differently. I am a raging feminist as well, but I don't engage with that kind of person or troll or argument on any of my social media. It's really interesting because before we were having our cocktail correspondence, I was streaming live onto multiple platforms on social media, and I was getting these really gross comments from one of the platforms, which I don't normally stream live to, and it's put me off. And I just think, you know what, life is too short to be dealing with these people. They are in their own heads, and you know, if someone sends you a connection request or is abusive or anything like that on LinkedIn, honestly, I would report and block them and then just put them out of my mind. But that is the way I deal with life. I focus on the path ahead and don't let these other people distract me from what I know is a brilliant service, and you have a brilliant service. And if you can cut those people down and move on with grace, then do it. I would rather just not engage with them at all. And that is my approach to all of my social media, and always has been. I remember somebody saying to me years ago now, oh, who are your haters, Louise? I was like, I don't think I have haters. I don't want haters. And you know, some people say, oh, you haven't made it until you've got haters. It's just not my approach in business or online to engage with all that negativity. I just steer away from it. I've had negative comments on my posts before. People making derogatory remarks, and honestly, my way of dealing with it is just to move on and ignore them. Let them stew in their own juices. I know that's different too. It's different for everybody. Everyone take your own approach. What works for you, keep on doing that.
I've been your host, Laura Pearman.
I've been your cocktail correspondent, Louise Brogan. If you've enjoyed learning about LinkedIn personal branding tips with me today, then you should take a look at these episodes from Moi TV. Don't forget, come and tune in to me on my podcast through the link in the show notes too. Mwah!
Thank you, Louise. Mwah!
Now, before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah!